Hey there, nomads of lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sean.
And we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home. And today we're going to be discussing Book 4 of the Wheel of Time. We're going to be summarizing and reviewing the book. It's called Shadow Rising.
There's so many.
There is so many.
So, we find ourselves in the Stone of Tyr. I don't know, however they say it in the accents of the world. The stone. Arg. No, I don't know.
That's pirates.
Well, that could be the Sean Chen accent. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, here we are, and Rand has drawn the sword of Calendar.
Yeah.
Light sword. Calendar.
Calendar.
Calendar sword.
Calendar.
The Calendar. And he's got it super powerful. Angreal. I never can remember. There's 3 different kinds. I never can remember.
Angreal.
Angreal. Potato.
Yes.
Anyways, he's got this powerful Angreal thing. And they're there, and he is being seduced by Lanfear. And she's kind of basically seducing him to the dark side.
I love his bad guy names, by the way. They're so plain Jane, like evil. It's not even funny. I guess some of them aren't, like Samael and Cimarog and
Samiam. I don't know. His names are strange to me, in my humble opinion, but I don't know.
I like Lanfear. It's a good one.
Lanfear is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Lanfear. Yeah, so she's trying to seduce him to the dark side of the Force by basically telling him, this is the bad guy's plan. Here you go. Here's the bad guy's plan. You can trust me because this is our plan. This is their plan, not mine. I'm with you. And so he's like, okay, I hear you. And then all of a sudden, Trollocs and Myrddraal show up. And it's scary and terrible, and they're fighting. And then all of a sudden, more Trollocs and Myrddraal show up, and they're fighting each other. And it's like Forsaken Civil War, because bad guys don't get along, I guess.
Yeah.
So Samiam has sent some guys to kill everybody, and then Semirag has sent other Trollocs and Myrddraals to stop them, I guess. I don't know. It's very confusing at this point, and it's terrible, and everybody's fighting, and people are dying, and it's horrible things, and Rand's like, oh, somehow I know how to do a thing, and he has the calendar sword, and he sends out lightning everywhere and kills them all. Yay!
Everybody gets exploded.
Yeah, everybody gets exploded. And so he kills them all, and that's great. And then they discover another kind of, what is it, Sangreal? With notes, right? Something. What is it? What does it say? Tirangreal. That's what I said. Tirangreal.
Tirangreal. I think Tyr is a place.
Yeah, the
Tirangreal, I think what it is. I don't know. I may be wrong too.
Tirangreal, sure.
Yeah.
That's how it's spelled. Tirangreal. And so Matt and Rand and Moraine all go and visit the snake people separately, or they all go. I don't remember. They go in together, but they end up separate either way. Yeah. And these people are supposed to answer any questions you have, and so Matt asks him some questions, and he discovers 2 things. One, he is going to die if he doesn't enter Rhuidean. He probably doesn't even know exactly what that means at that point. And also, he's going to marry the daughter of the 9 moons. So basically, he spends the rest of like 2 or 3 books or whatever asking everybody in the world who's the daughter of the 9 moons, because wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And so anyway, Rand is the Carcarn. And which basically means he's the prophesied hero, chosen one is the word I'm trying to say. He's the chosen one for the Aiel. He basically fits everybody's prophecies. We learn more and more about that as the series progresses. And so he's the Carcarn, which is the Aiel prophecy. And so he decides, well, I'm going to have to go to the Aiel Waste. And a whole bunch of people go with him. And he looks at Calendar sword, and decides, okay, this is scary, and I'm going insane, and I don't really think I should have this right now. And so he basically puts the sword and stone back in the stone and puts all kinds of traps and whatever, and to keep other people from stealing it. And they head off to the Aiel Waste. So Rand and company go to the Aiel Waste. They start heading that way. Egwene and Aviendha also go with them because Egwene wants to learn about dreamwalking, and Aviendha doesn't want to, but is going to become a wise one.
Yep.
Perrin and Fael discover that there is trouble in the Two Rivers.
Trouble in paradise.
Trouble in paradise. The Shire is under attack. Saruman has come.
Yep.
Or something. There's trouble and bad stuff, so they decide to go there. And then Elaine and Nynaeve and Tom Maryland, they all go to...
Loyal goes with Perrin, right? I think.
Yes, Loyal.
We haven't talked about him in a long time because he doesn't do a lot. But
because Robert Jordan decided he doesn't matter anymore, apparently, I guess, or got tired of him. Or maybe he's going to be important later. We don't know yet. Neither one of us have finished the series. We're both halfway or thereabouts. But anyway, Loyal does, which is important to mention because he shows up later in this book. But Nynaeve and Elaine and Tom Maryland go to Tarabon because they're going to go hunt down the Black Aja. And Min heads to the White Tower to go report to Swan Sanche, the Amerlin seat. And so we basically split the rest of the book up into 4 totally separate plot lines that don't really merge back together in this book.
So finally, we get to learn more about the Aiel.
Cool beans.
Yeah, exactly. So Rand takes everybody, he puts everybody in he creates a portal. He doesn't puts everybody in a portal. No, he creates a portal. Everybody goes through it to get to the Aiel Waste. And when they get there, the Tardad and the Shido Aiel, I guess that's how you say it, I don't know. The Shido Aiel are waiting for them. So Rand, Moraine, and Matt all go to Roydeon and enter into a Turangrial. First of all, the Aiel don't want him to because they only allow their clan chief to go in. But they do it anyway. And when Rand gets in there, he kind of relives or sees into his past ancestor lives and sees that these Aiel warmongering people that are almost like Vikings. I mean, not necessarily Vikings, but just desert Vikings. That love war, that love violence. He sees that they once shunned violence and that they were against it. They also used to work for they hate now the Aes Sedai, but they used to work for them and work with them. And apparently there was some kind of thing there that they broke a vow to the Aes Sedai or something. I don't really remember exactly what happened, but anyway. And then on top of that, these Tinkerer people that the Aiel talk so poorly about are actually old Aiel who still have their pacifist ways.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
All right, so Rand also finds a huge collection of Angreal, sa'angreal, and Turangreal inside Roydeon. And then
Matrim Coffin.
What was right after that?
Dragon tattoos.
And he has the dragon tattoos.
The girl with
the Rand with the dragon tattoos all over his arm. He has dragon tattoos, which makes him, or is evidence of, the fact that he's the Kara Karn, which of course they still don't want to accept all the...
What kind of car?
Are we in like? It's the Autobahn. The car Autobahn. I don't know. Anyway, so then Matrim Cawthon goes in to another Turangreal that's similar to the one he went in to find the questions earlier, and to get his answers. And he still wants answers, so he goes in there and finds these people, and he doesn't know, but they're actually bartering to, instead of answer his questions,
these are like fox
to
people,
give him
snake
gifts.
people.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
So he so the gifts he gets are that he can speak the old tongue, and he can see some of his ancestors' lives, and also they give him a really memories. They give him a really cool spear, and then a Turangrial that is a medallion that he wears around his neck that keeps him from anybody using the one power on him, which is really important because he uses it later. So Avienda, who is mad about this, has to teach Rand about the Aiel customs, and she's
always mad.
She's always mad, and she's acting like she's mad, even though we know she's not mad. She's just acting like a teenage girl who's in love, but doesn't want to be because she's supposed to be she's supposed to be protecting him from anyone. Anyway, all right. So then the Couladin, Rand and Couladin from the Shido go to the amphitheater place. I'm not even going to try to say the name of it. And they both declare themselves the Kara Karn because Couladin has some tattoos too, because he didn't put them on his arm or anybody else. And then while they're all distracted and the Aiel are fighting, because some of them are with Rand and some of them are with Couladin,
because they're in different tribes.
Yeah,
so pretty much,
So the ones that came with Couladin are like, no, he is the Kara Karn, blah blah blah, And so while this is going on, all this craziness, Asmodian comes in. He's like,
who's a Forsaken?
The Forsaken Asmodian comes in, and he's like, there is basically a key in Ruidion that will allow access. It's a Turangrial that allows access to the most powerful sa'angreal ever created. And so when Rand realizes what's going on, he chases after him, and they start opening portals and running and going all crazy. And finally, Rand catches up to him. It is a very cool scene. Finally, Rand catches up to him, and they both grab onto this Turangrial, and they're trying to use it against each other. But little does he know that Rand also has another one in his pocket,
baby one.
And that gives him just enough edge to get over the top and completely cut off Asmodian from the Dark One. And so he kind of freaks out a little bit, but anyway, and then Lanfear comes up, and we've never really known where her allegiances lie. I mean, we do know she's bad. We are pretty sure she's bad, but we don't know what her thoughts are. Anyway, she comes up and helps, and kind of basically puts a bubble around him and limits his power to the
not completely severing him or
so he still can use the
close,
one power, but only at a very small amount. So Rand can overpower him very quickly at any point. And she basically tells him, you need to teach Rand how to channel.
Yep.
And so because he's been around the block and knows all these things, he's
a man.
And and so he knows, and he's able to actually train Rand, which is extremely helpful because this whole time Rand's just been going by the seat of his pants, not really knowing what he's doing. And so now he actually has somebody who knows what this stuff is all about.
Yeah. So, storyline number 2. In the Two Rivers, Perrin and Fael and the Ogier, Loyal, that name. I'm struggling with names today. Right. He's doing all right, but I am. It's fine. They go to the Two Rivers, and we find out that our old sneaky, crazy man friend, Nami, Padan Fane he has caused Trollocs to attack the Two Rivers, and so he's up to no good, and so that's all happening. And while they're traveling, while these three folks and their entourage are traveling, they come across this mysterious figure named Slayer. They find out later. Very scary. It's kind of like, reminds me of Aragorn Strider, but the terrifying version. He's there and he's doing weird things. They don't know what's going on with that. And so they show up, and all kinds of bad stuff are happening. There's white cloaks on the move. All kinds of bad stuff is coming against the Two Rivers, but the Two Rivers is kind of in sort of when they show up, they're kind of in a state of like underground surface level equilibrium. Like the Trollocs are kind of being taken care of, and the White Cloaks are not doing anything terrible-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they get there, they discover that it's definitely not all
roses and
all
butterflies.
guns and roses. It's mostly just guns. But probably the worst thing that's happened that they discover is Perrin's family is dead because Trollocs have killed him, which is really terrible. And it's really terrible, but that's one part I didn't. We'll talk about pros and cons later, but it seems like it's kind of glossed over quickly. But I don't know. Maybe that's just in times of war, you got to move on, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, they discover that, and it's sad and terrible. But they start to find this underground movement happening, and they find that there are 2 Aes Sedai there. Varen and Alana Sedai are both there. And they are looking for girls who can channel, and they're kind of helping the villagers out. And Perrin convinces them to help with the White Cloaks and the Trollocs and all these other terrible things that are happening there. And so they kind of start to ally together and to build up a real resistance. Well, while all this is happening and this resistance is starting to build, Tinkers show up. Remember those passive guys that we now know used to be Aiel? All kinds of cool stuff. They show up, and Perrin's worried about them because they're pacifists, and there's all this terrible fighting stuff going on.
And they're not going to do anything.
They're not going. Yeah, they're not.
Or keep themselves alive.
Keep themselves or anybody, and they do. A bunch of them do end up dying, which causes a young tinker by the name of Aram or something. To decide, the heck with this, I'm done being passive. Somebody teach me how to fight, which of course is terrible, and he essentially basically gets excommunicated, and it's just this really, really struggling thing. I mean, you kind of think of like a Amish, whatever, the kid going off and becoming a Navy SEAL or something. I mean, it just totally disrupts him and his society, and all those things happen. So that's crazy. He's learning how to fight, and this resistance continues to build. And Matt's father and Rand's father both are very instrumental because they both know how to fight from, I guess probably the Aiel Wars probably is where that all took place, which all goes back to Aiel in this book. A lot of Aiel stuff. And so you get this Magnificent Seven training montage, learn how to shoot a gun, or probably not guns and whatever. And the guys can't shoot the guns, so they can use them as a club, whatever. That's Magnificent Seven, not this. But I kind of pictured those kind of moments as I was reading it. And so they start training to fight the Trollocs and the White Cloaks and everybody else. Perrin, while doing all of this, gets more and more powerful. And everybody's starting to listen to him, and he's like, why are y'all listening to me? I'm not cool. I'm not important because, whatever. And, because he's not even thinking, later in the series, they start constantly thinking, oh, yeah, we're Taviran. So everybody's listening to us. And are they really, is it because of me or because of this or whatever? At this point, he doesn't know. I mean, he knows, but he's not thinking about any of this. But everybody's following him, and he says, no, you can't follow me. Go follow those people. And
I'm not worthy.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. And to seal the deal, he gets nicknames. He starts being called Lord Perrin, which he hates. Fael is, it's good. It's gonna be okay. It's good. You are a lord, and whatever. And starts building him up, and he also gets called Perrin Golden Eyes, and that becomes a rallying cry. Because remember, he's Wolfman, but not a werewolf. He's got the yellow eyes, and so golden eyes, Perrin Golden Eyes, and so he gets more and more powerful and whatever.
We're talking about N64 at this point, because I'm really
yeah
really feeling the itch.
Whatever, however the theme song goes.
The theme song insert here. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll get demonetized for that. But, whatever.
Thanks, YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully you won't kill me for those 2 bars that were butchered. But, and throughout all of this, he's getting to be the Lord, and he and Fael are falling more and more in love. And then I can't remember whose idea it is. I want to say it's her idea, but either way, at some point, they're like, yeah, let's get married in the middle of all this mess. And so they get married. I feel like she says, yeah, marry me or else. But I could be remembering wrong. I'd have to go back and read. But so they get married. And so the fighting's about to go down because they're opposing the White Cloaks and the Trollocs and the Slayer and all the things. And so Perrin, because he feels like that's the right thing to do, he wants to protect his little wife and his little lowly wife.
He's not scared, but he realizes it could be bad.
And
things.
so he tells her, okay, go to Morghedien and get some troops, get some help. And so he sends Fael away. She's mad about it, but she goes anyway. And at that point, the White Cloaks are there, and there's, is it Bornhold? Is that the name of the kid whose dad died or Perrin killed or the wolves killed or something? I don't know. He blames Perrin for. And so the White Cloaks are, of course, extremely mad at Perrin
and the resistance.
And the resistance and everything else. And so they demand that Perrin is arrested. And Perrin doesn't want the villagers to die or have more trouble. And so he's kind of like, well, okay, I'll give myself up. And they're like, no, you can't do that. No, Lord Golden Eyes, don't do it. And he says, no, I need to do this. And he goes through all this mental turmoil. And he finally decides, okay, I'm going to go to him and I'm going to say, I'm going to turn myself in if you will come and help us fight the Trollocs and finish off what you started and take care of this mess. And so they agree reluctantly and are like, okay, because there's the sort of sane commander of the White Cloaks, and then there's the one that's just like, kill Perrin, kill him, kill Perrin. He's just going nuts. And basically that's his entire modus operandi is I want to destroy Perrin. And, at the detriment of everything else. And so they're going to go fight the Trollocs. And so this battle's going to take place. And the White Cloaks say, yeah, we're going to do it. And they all get ready. They set up. They're ready to fight. There's what we didn't mention was that there's a waygate near there, which is essentially plot device why Loyal is there. It's a shame that he, at this point, has just become a plot device instead of a fully fleshed character. Hopefully we get more of Loyal later. But he goes to shut that. He and Perrin go to shut down this waygate, and all this heroic stuff happens. And then Perrin discovers that Slayer is killing wolves in Tel Aron Riyadh. I think that's how they say it, but I don't think that's how it's spelled. Because I don't think there's an I in there. I don't know. Dream World. In Dreamland, he goes and confronts Slayer, and they fight, and Perrin wins, and Slayer runs away with his tail between his legs. I don't think he has a tail, but you get it. And so they defeat him, and then the Trollocs are defeated, and they win. Yay! Now Perrin has to go to jail. But wait, there's more. Because the White Cloaks didn't do what they said they were going to do. They didn't help. They just sat on their bums and they just sat on their bums. And if I remember right, they were guarded by a bunch of women in skirts. If I remember right, I think so. Basically, and so they're totally useless. And so Perrin's like, you didn't fall through, so nope, not going with you.
Peace out.
Yeah, peace out. Bye. I'm gone. And Podon Faye and it says, all plans failed again. And he's like, I guess I'm leaving too, because this isn't working. So he flees and runs away. Two Reavers is saved. Perrin and Fael are. Oh yeah, that's how it went. They win at the end because Fael is like. Is going to Morghedien, and I can't remember where she meets up with some people or if she just has some people with her, but somehow she brings reinforcements back and saves the day, which is cool. That's a big piece between Perrin and Fael is the strength of the two of them coming together and being strong together, and so that's a cool moment. And the Two Rivers is saved, and it's happy, and yay, it's good. Excuse me.
So Tom and Julian go along with Nynaeve and Elaine with the shirtless sea folk, and they discover what is his name? I've already forgotten. Bael Domon.
Yeah.
and a Shanshan, and they discover that the bad people are all trying to find a Idom to control Rand with.
Yeah.
And Moghedien is there, right? Moghedien.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I don't know, it depends on which book. Moghedien is how they pronounce
Moghedien.
it. One of the
I know
books.
that. I know. Oh, I think it's the female pronounces it Moghedien. And
no, because in one of the, I think in one of the books, this when the audio, but like from one book to the next, they changed the pronunciation.
Moghedien and Moghedien.
Yeah.
Anyway,
whoever she is,
that
dream lady.
Nynaeve realizes that she's trying to do that and is gonna stop her. So they fight, and crazy enough, Forsaken Moghedien gets overtaken by Nynaeve, which just goes to show how freaking powerful Nynaeve is.
And she's still braid pulling at this point.
Exactly. She's still.
So she was mad.
Yeah, she was angry, and so she overpowers her, and you think you're hoping at this point that they're gonna be able to like take control of her and do something with her, but of course, I don't even remember who comes in to save her. Who is it?
Probably some of the Black Aja.
Oh yeah, Black Aja. They do a Angreal, Saw-Angreal, or Tur-Angreal, something that creates balefire. I think it's Tur-Angreal that creates balefire, and it creates a big distraction, and so she escapes. Moghedien escapes.
So, while all that craziness is happening, and then the other craziness, and the other craziness, there's a fourth thing that's going on. Min is gone. If you remember, she went to the White Tower, because she's going to report to and use her ability or whatever with Swan Sunche, the Amerlin seat. And so she does that, and Swan wants to kind of keep her under wraps and keep her hidden, and they don't really want everybody to know about her aura seeing abilities. And so she starts going by Elmindrida, who that character is basically as opposite of Min as you can get. She's this like airhead sissy girl, little boy crazy, whatever, remember this is Min who, wears pants and, basically dresses like a boy normally and is
tomboy,
very tomboyish. Anyway, so she plays this airhead and it's quite hilarious. And so all that happens, and unfortunately, Min gets caught up in the middle of a coup because what's her name?
The Black Aja.
No, not the Black Aja. Well, they probably are involved. No, Elida.
Oh, Elida.
So there's a group of primarily Red Aja, which probably has Black Aja in it too, that we don't do or don't know about. I don't know, whatever. But either way, primarily led by Red Aja, Elida carries out a coup, and they take over and they depose Swan Sanche. And in the process of that, her and her keeper of the shawl, Leanne, they are both gentled, which, if you remember, means that they can sense the power, but they can't access it. They can't use
They said it's basically like cutting off a limb. It's
very, very
detrimental.
Terrible.
Most people that go through it
die
die or kill themselves or some form of something.
And so that happens. And so they're now gentled, and which is the same as what's it called for men? The stilling. Yeah, it's the same thing, but for women. And or maybe I'm saying it backwards. They're stilled, men are gentled, whatever. I don't know. It's all the same thing. They're cut off from the power, so Min has to save them.
Yep.
And so she gets them out before they're killed or whatever else, or in prison or whatever. So she gets them out. They also run into a gentled Logain, and so they run into him, and which is also fairly comical because they don't really like him, and he's kind of gruff, and so they basically hide in carts and escape.
That's right.
And that's the end of that plot line. That's a sad one. It's a downer. One of my favorite characters. She gets
Swan Sanche. It's very sad. I remember when it happened, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like she seemed like she was going to be a big part of this story, and now she has no power. But
so, what did we like in this book?
So,
I loved all the stuff with Perrin. Loved
Yes.
it. That's
yes.
Perrin up to this point.
We've talked about this off camera before. That
yeah,
Perrin is an awesome character. Probably out of the three, even though Rand is, the chosen one and's got all the power and he's got some awesome abilities and all that. It's awesome, but Rand's abilities and the whole Golden Eyes thing, all the things with the wolves, is just so interesting and is just so different than a lot of the things I've read. I know there's millions of books out there.
Right.
I'm not saying that there's not somebody
well,
else
it's
who's written
different.
something
It's
similar,
different than the other stuff in this book,
yeah,
too. And that's it's cool. It's different. And so I really liked that he spent a whole lot of time, and we get to see more of the two rivers. Get to see the Matt and Rand's fathers. That's really cool. This kind of you see glimpses that I don't know that we're ever really going to learn their true like how they're fighting in the war, and some of that kind of stuff. But you get to see kind of glimpses of them, which is cool. You get to see this stuff. Yeah, so I really liked all the Two Rivers stuff. That's one of my favorite things.
I wonder if that backstory. I never even thought about it until now, but I wonder if that backstory is in the prequel book.
It could be. Haven't read that yet. Definitely intend to.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. I loved all the stuff in the Aiel Waste. The almost dream sequence-ish.
Roydion stuff and him going into the Terangrial and even the part with Matt. I remember vividly the part with Matt and I got scared that Matt was actually going to die because
it's going to kill him.
Yeah, because he ends up on the tree and he's hanging and you're like, what's going to happen? Of course, Rand comes in and saves the day, but it's a very intense sequence, and I can only imagine what it would be like if we get to the point in the Amazon show where they actually get to do that.
Sure.
Hopefully they do. So yeah, I like that part too. I enjoyed also the sad part at the end that we just talked about, the kind of the coup, more political kind of stuff that's going on, seeing that and seeing how even though Swan is so powerful and so she's good at the politics, but she wasn't able to see that this was happening, and it's sad, but it's a decent part, and being able to see men in a different light too is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I
don't know that I have too many nitpicks on this. It would be
so for me, this book has so much in it. I mean, you've already seen. I don't know how long we just took to do that summary, but it's a lot because there's so much that goes in this book. And we had a gripe several books ago, probably the very first book, I think is what it is that nothing happens. Like there's long periods of time where it's just, we're going along and we go into a city and we play the flute and blah 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 blah. And there is very few filler pieces in this book. There's just so much that's going on. And
this was definitely my favorite of the first four, personally. Easily, for sure.
I agree.
Honestly, it may be one of my favorites of the ones I've read so far. I like Fires of Heaven a lot, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So that's a big plus for me, is that there's a lot that goes on and there's not so much dead time. As far as cons, the biggest one that we barely touched on was Loyal. I mean, we kind of touched on a couple of times. The fact that, and that's,
I don't know if that's a con for this book.
That's true.
A con for the series.
Well, and it is a con for this book because he was in book 2 and 3. He was such a more integral part, I think. And then in this book, he does play a little bit of a role with going and shutting the. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn. It's been so long since I read it. But I definitely feel that's, for me, there wasn't enough Loyal in this book. Yeah,
regardless. It was nice to have that. So it was nice to see him finally coming back, but there wasn't as much as we'd like, and and there continues to be. That's a spoiler, I guess. Not really a huge, earth-shattering spoiler, but
I also really loved that. I think we just loved this book. This is a good book.
I liked this one a lot.
The Moghedien. The Moghedien scene is interesting because of Nynaeve and being able to see how powerful she is, but also the Lanfear scene with Rand, where she helps him with what is his name? I can't think of
the guy, the Forsaken.
Yeah.
His name is something. Asmodian.
Asmodian, that's right.
Asmodian.
Asmodian, yeah. Him being able to finally have a helper is really cool.
Yeah.
And being able to see that
the dynamic of him being an unwilling helper. I mean, that's more in the next book too, but that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
It's not. It turns the wise sage teacher, the Yoda character, on its head a little bit. It's very interesting. It's fun
because he doesn't want to be doing it. And he's very almost scared of the fact that he's been cut off from the Dark One.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting.
It's cool. There's a lot of good stuff. Overall, this was a great book.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have. I mean, I liked. Yeah, there's so much that was fun. We didn't really talk about Elaine and Tom Maryland, and that most of that stuff happens in this book, or is that the next one?
The father daughter, kind of stuff.
Her twirling his mustaches, kind of creepy old man things. I don't know, strange. I think that starts to happen in this book.
Yeah,
I don't remember, definitely. But there's a lot of cool stuff. I think that's good.
Yep.
So that's
awesome.
All I know.
Great book. If you have liked the first three and haven't read this one, hopefully you did before we spoiled it for you. But if you enjoyed it, we're glad that you listened to us and remembered it with us over this time period. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Hit the big red subscribe button below if you haven't, so that you'll get more content. Ring the bell next to it so you know when we're dropping more videos. And
let us know your nitpicks in the comments.
Yeah.
Or your
tell us what your favorite book is. Is this one of your favorites or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because she's gonna protect him for Elaine. He's for Elaine, dang it.
That's right.
For the daughter of
Elaine,
daughter
but
heir.
I love him too.
He's for the daughter heir. I am keeping you safe for him. I don't remember if that's in this book or the next one.
Yeah, keeping you safe.